Don't know where we're going, but we're gonna get there.
I mean, you got a semblance of the.
We'll
structure.
figure it out. And cue the music.
No, I mean, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so you got it, right?
It's already been got.
All right. This is Paisley Nights. We are chronicling the days of WoW. I am Mark Bonde D here with my co-host
DJ Dudley D.
and we're breaking down the stories of Paisley Park, talking about this history of this building, really, that hosted countless parties, countless performances, countless experiences, all kinds of stuff happening in Chanhassen, Minnesota.
And recorded all those amazing albums. All the albums.
All the albums. I mean, it's really a trip. So we want to get into that history of those people that went out there, not as producers, not as musicians, not as record execs, not as a dancer, not as, I don't even know, whatever building stage hands, engineers.
Well, we
whatever.
might talk to a couple of them eventually, but
No, yeah, obviously. I mean, if we can talk to them, we're going to talk to them. We ain't fools. But we also trying to, bring this from a perspective of everyday people.
yes.
Because everyday people, I mean, Prince brought everyday people to the table.
All the walks of life, young, old, every ethnicity, all sorts of people went out to Paisley Park. I mean, here we are. We started going out in 95, and I don't know, Mark, talk a little bit about the summer of 95 when we really just discovered this amazing building, white building that just, you would not, it's like, it reminds me of those episodes. They have those shows where it's like normal houses, but then you walk in, it's just like, whew, everything's pink or whatever,
Yeah, inside.
Yeah, the inside. Outside was just chill, but the inside,
It's just like
different
new world. Yeah, you walk through those doors, and all of a sudden you hear the sounds, and you smell the smells, and you see the lights and the people, and
it all hits you.
yeah, it grabs you. So summer of 95, it's interesting because it all starts in May of 95, and that's pretty much episode 1, right? It's Dustin and I's first experience going out to Paisley Park, getting connected through somebody at Glam Slam, just a random night that ends up in Chanhassen with Prince walking by us playing Peak Control, right? It's
Next thing you know,
it's the summer of 95, right? And it's interesting because I walk out of the experience kind of that first night, and it's like you see the world differently, right? Like there are new glasses on. Like you were kind of like
your third eye was open.
You thought it's a good analogy, right? It was just blurry, right? And now it's just like clear, and it's this drive to get more, right? Like essentially, and I couldn't quite place it, right? I mean, at the time, it's just like I just wanted to learn more. I wanted to find out who Prince was. Why did he walk that way? How do you write a song called Pussy Control? Like, it's interesting.
Do you always wear heels?
Where'd you get my mom's drapes? Like, how do you got those? How are you wearing those? I mean, dude, that outfit was crazy. But like there's a drive, right? So I come out of that experience, and summer of 95, it's like I'm gonna go and get these albums.
Yep.
So I find the liner notes to the hits. I read that. I'm
Reading
just
the
like,
lyrics.
Oh my
digging
gosh.
into the lyrics. What do they mean?
Yeah, you got the hits playing, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna go buy this album, and then like you go to the record store, and there's just like album after album after album. You're like, dude, I don't even know what to buy here.
And I can't afford them all because it's summer 95 and I'm in school.
Or that seems ridiculous to buy them all. But I mean, I think
Right.
by like June or July, man, I had like 80% of the albums.
Yeah.
And I was listening to some of them, but not, it's just like some of them, like I just couldn't get into at the time. Like my mind wasn't ready for, right? So like my first,
and we were also listening to like 90s hip hop was kind of our,
our jam, right?
Yeah, so it's like you're grasping towards that sound, which also, Prince is always, moving along with the sounds, using the sounds in his own way, but taking sounds from, other kind of genres and other times that are happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're kind of like, what are you ready for? What's your palate ready to taste, right? So it's interesting, we're digging into all that music, and then, we find the NPG Music Store.
Yeah. Right in Uptown.
Yeah,
right.
Like how many blocks from your house is that?
I mean, that's 4 blocks from where I grew up.
Yeah. So you're 4 blocks, and you go in there, and it's just like
it smells like Paisley Park.
It smells like Paisley Park, and then it's just Princeville, man. It's like you walk in, there's a television screen on the floor.
Right.
When you walk in, and they're playing the Get Off freaking performance with him with the freaking butt cheeks on the floor, and you're just like,
what is this place?
Yeah,
right?
There's
another
nook and cranny of the Prince universe, and you roll in, right? And then it's just Prince gear, Prince music, Prince motorcycle, Prince condoms, and then there's candles, and there's the decor, and there's the posters and the jackets. Damn, I want that jacket. Anybody want to hook me up with that gold jacket?
The gold experience jacket?
Yeah, the gold experience jacket.
We need a large?
Yeah.
We need a large gold experience jacket.
Oh.
Hit us up on our Twitter if you got one.
Yeah, you got one.
At Paisley_nights.
Yeah, Rick, I'm talking to you right now.
Someone's got an extra one.
No, he ain't got an extra one. He showed me that deal, and I'm just like, come on, bro. That's your boy.
Yeah. Well, we'll get one eventually.
Yeah, we're gonna make it happen. So, I mean, we're in there. I'm paying $1 to see videos upstairs. It's 18 and over, Xanali, that whole kind of deal. And same December was one. Dude, and we would just pay $1 just to sit up there in that pillow room and watch videos.
Amazing.
And then you start building a rapport with people when you go to the same place every single day, and then you find out things are happening and things are on the radio.
Who else did that you know of that had like their own store? And you what I mean?
Dude, I don't know. Hit us up on Twitter, comment on our Facebook page. Is there an artist that had a similar concept? Like a store dedicated to a single artist?
I don't know. I mean, I know there's Dollywood now. She's alive.
Yeah,
so I mean, obviously you can go to Neverland and
Neverland doesn't open though, does it?
Sorry, not Neverland. Graceland.
Graceland. Yeah. Sorry.
Excuse me, Graceland.
Yeah, I got
Elvis.
You. Yeah.
But you can go there. I mean, but that's different because that's all after he passed. So
yeah.
Which obviously Paisley Park is being run like that.
Yeah.
Same people are running it right now. But yeah, I don't know if anybody ever had their own retail store just selling their own gear.
I don't think so, man. 1-800-NEW-FUNK, right? Then you can get it offline. But summer '95, we're in the new NPG store, kind of trying to get back to this experience that hey, people could go out there.
Yeah.
And once you got your ear to the ground, turns out there was a concert, $20, and it was sold out. You couldn't get tickets, and we didn't know any better to do anything, so we missed that show.
Yep.
And then the next week, I happened to get my wisdom teeth pulled.
Yes.
It's on all kinds of drugs, all jacked up. And what happened?
I went out there.
Oh, man. This is brutal, man. So I'm talking about Prince all summer. I got all the albums. I bought all the stuff. We rolling with my CD player connected through a tape into my tape deck in my Honda Accord.
Yep.
And we're playing all the music. We got all the stuff. We're talking about Prince, watching Prince videos. Turns out Dustin wasn't quite as into him as I was because he hadn't seen him live yet. But, I mean, he was rolling with me, so that was cool.
Right.
But I was deep, man.
Yeah.
I was reading books on Prince.
And yeah, I mean, I'm a DJ, so I'm into all sorts of
Yeah.
music. You know, my feelers are out everywhere right at this point. You know?
Yeah, but it took us between May and September, maybe August, you know.
Yeah.
So it was months. It wasn't like we just got right back out there, right? Like
Right.
we had to kind of connect to the scene and get our ear to the ground.
It feels like in my brain, it feels like it was only like a couple weeks later.
No, it was August.
No, I
There's
know,
no
but like
way.
it just like
it was
when
the,
I think back about
yeah,
it.
Yeah, the Uptown Art Fair was happening, and I met this guy who's playing me bootlegs out of his freaking Jeep and telling me that he had tickets for that night's show, but they were all sold out. And I was like, dang, how'd you all know about it and what happened?
Yeah.
And then the next weekend, same thing went down, except I had my wisdom teeth pulled, so I was all jacked, and I did not go. So all drugged up and dry sockets.
So yeah, I went out there.
And what happened?
It was a concert in the big sound stage, and if my memory's correct, it was the same night that the Cleveland Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was being inducted.
No, that came
that's
later
not-
because I was at that show. This was when it came out as Tora Tora.
All right. For some reason, I combined those two. Anyway, so it wasn't the
This
same
is the
night.
challenge with memories, though, right?
Yeah.
Like they get foggy. No, you were out there because he was Tora Tora on the
Yeah.
mask.
Yeah. So he came out, and I mean, I didn't know about Tora Tora, so I was, in the back, and first 2-3 songs, it took me to actually realize that it was Prince on stage, because of the distance I was away and never, seen him on stage live before. But all I know is that sound just entered my soul and took
Yeah.
over.
What is it about that sound?
I don't know. It sounds so good in Paisley Park.
Oh, man. So there was a time, it was 2007, and it was the 7707 deal.
Oh, yeah?
And it's just like this was before the 770 deal. It was I went to 3121, and we went out there, and I hadn't seen Prince, had to have been 2-3 years, which is probably the longest span in my adult life, right?
Yep.
And I was kind of on a different path and a little bit on the outs with Prince and, not really kind of feeling his music. But I went and, dude, I was there and that first lick just popped, right? It just popped.
Brought you
And,
right
the
back.
sound was just like, and I was like, oh, man, this is.
You missed it.
I missed this. And I don't think there was ever a time where I didn't appreciate that sound after that. So the 777 show, I saw him again a couple months later, and I was just like, it really solidified in that 777 show, right?
Yeah.
When I was sitting at Macy's, and I was just like, dude, I just can't get enough of this sound.
Right.
And I mean, I think there is nothing in anything that I've seen since he died. There's just nothing that does it. It's just like it brings you to a place, and the problem is, I mean, the sad thing, like I listen to the bootlegs or the concerts or that stuff, and it kind of gets you there.
Right.
But there's when
the
you're
quality of the sound.
yeah,
and
but when you're actually there versus when you're hearing it on a recording, there's like
Right.
another.
it's the vibrations.
There was another
vibrations
yeah.
moving through your body differently.
And then you're participating, right?
Yeah.
And I think
You're
this
part
is
of it.
This is what I was thinking about today when we were talking, about how Prince played on a regular basis for people like us, right? So you see him as Tora Tora, but that's like the first of like a couple hundred shows, right?
Yeah.
So you see him, and then you see him again and again, and what you learn is there's like the crowd is like a part of the band. It's his choir, it's his percussion, it's his back and forth and his banter,
Right.
and I believe that he's working that craft, and he's elevating his game from kind of his kind of late 80s deal to like what he becomes as a showman in like the musicology.
He's got Slave on his cheek. He's trying to
reinvent, and he comes
reinvent
back
himself.
as like the showman in like the musicology tours, and he's building, I think, many elements of that
Yeah.
at Paisley Park.
Yeah.
And he's able to actually interact with a real crowd and try out real materials, like these comedians go to these small clubs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like you can't always get to that level that you're looking for when it's just you and the band. Like
you can rehearse all night long, right? Because like you're a DJ.
Yeah.
You work like you DJing like against this wall, right?
Never going to be the same as
never going to be the same as you working.
Looking at a few hundred people in a dance club and seeing how they react to
and you bring
different
that
things
and
you're
you bring
doing.
that new track and it's like
Right.
pops. You're like, oh, I'm bringing that new track back tomorrow night.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, I think the same thing happens with Prince, right? Like this was good. This is the reaction I got to this bit.
Yeah.
This worked. This didn't work.
I think too. It's also. I mean, it's got to be interesting too with him like knowing that a lot of times it was a lot of the same people out there, like on the smaller nights. What I'm talking about when
it's just
you're
quiet.
talking about like, yeah, it's like a snowy Friday night and the party, didn't really make it through all the channels and it's announced super late and all of a sudden there's only 42 people out there
and he's still doing
and he's still playing for 3 hours and you're standing 10 feet away and
I never
he's
felt
just
like those
going
shows
at
were
it.
3 hours, but
Well, you never know.
he played a few 3-hour shows. Those were later on.
Yeah.
Earlier on, he did a lot of 70-minute sets. So, I think Summer of 95 is interesting, because Summer of 95 gets us out there. We see additional shows. The next weekend I'm out there, right? And you're seeing Prince close up, the live music, the live sound, and it's got you, right? And now, you start building some relationships, you start building some connections, and you get into the next layer of the circle, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we did. Like we latched on,
So that kind of leads us into just kind of recapping our last guest, Dion Anderson, who we really, like you heard, like when we were going out there early in like 95, 96, 97, like we were out there regularly up front with Dion, sharing the Pringles, hanging out, chit-chatting, about what do you think's going to happen tonight? What happened last week? How are you?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and like they're 10 years older than us, maybe give or take.
Yeah.
And we're young white boys, obviously black women. It's like this. It's an interesting dynamic and banter that emerges. I mean, I think for me, it shapes. Like it got me out of my cultural norms, right? Like it brought me into a different world,
right?
And in a good way.
I mean, how did you even get into Prince?
How did I get into Prince? Yeah, I mean, if I look at like my Prince memories, like I remember the American Music Awards. I remember Lionel Richie kind of hosting that deal and Prince playing, right? I remember the Grammys of that year. I remember kind of all that vibe. I remember trying to buy the Sheila E. record, and my mom was like, "Yeah, you're not getting the Sheila E. record, right?" And I was like, but it's got Glamorous Life on it, But I mean, I wasn't like a huge Prince fan or anything.
Meanwhile, my mom's buying me 2 Live Crew, as nasty as they want to be.
Yeah. A little more conservative at the Bonde household. And then I saw Thieves in the Temple. I bought the Thieves in the Temple like single on a freaking deal.
Right.
So it's not like I didn't know Prince.
Right.
But I didn't get
Where did that come from? Was your sister?
Yeah, I mean, my sister had, The Time, Ice Cream Castles, Purple Rain. She's graduating. They're living in that.
Right.
My other sister went to Holy Angels, which is where Paul Peterson went to.
Yeah.
Right, so she did a talent show in 87, and the closing act of the talent show at the Holy Angels deal was Paul Peterson. Now, Paul Peterson at the time was, I think, post-Family, so he was out on his own trying to find a gig. He'd already done his thing with The Time, already done his thing with the Family, already, dropped Mutiny, etc. And he's playing a talent show at Holy Angels, and the freaking crowd goes wild. And I'm like, dude, who's this dude? And he plays his deal, and I don't know anything about that, but that was what happened, right? So I mean, it's Minneapolis, man. If you're not connected to Prince somehow, some way,
yeah,
in the freaking summers of 85, 86, 87, dude, like Prince is where it's at. Yep. So I remember those things, right? But like, I never really was like, Prince is my jam. We saw Thieves in the Temple when I was in 7th grade. We went, crew of us, and I was like, I don't know what's happening in this movie.
Right. So your sister kind of
laid some seeds, right? But they weren't like super passionate people about Prince. Like it was just like the time, the space.
Yep. Interesting.
So I mean, it's Minneapolis, man. You get enculturated, right? And I remember the news shows when he was going naked on the cover, because I was always like kind of a kid that watched the news. I remember that, seeing those albums. I mean,
well, and that's kind of like me too. Like, it's so funny when you think about it. Like, because I was all into Michael Jackson. So you'd see kind of those things about Prince, and you'd be like, "That's weird."
Yeah.
Michael Jackson's cool, man.
Yeah.
Look what he's doing. And then all of a sudden, it really just flipped.
Yeah, really just like at one point it just changes. So I think it's interesting. I mean, I got these memories that were there. I think they were the antecedents to, my ability to grasp on and my interest with like when I got close to him.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, maybe that's just happenstance, right? That dude, he was there, we were here, and
Right. Which reminds me too is growing up. There was a couple kids down the block, and their mom, when I was like young, their mom was going to Paisley Park, and
Really?
she had like bootlegs on tape of Prince.
yeah.
And I'm sorry, not Paisley Park. She was going to First Avenue.
Yeah, yeah.
When he was
So
playing at First Avenue.
This is old school.
Yeah,
old school.
old school trench coat, coming out the trench coat. And I just remember later on when I started getting into Prince, my mom mentioned that she'd still live there. Like, oh, like she used to go to First Avenue all the time, and maybe we'll get her on the show.
That'd be cool.
I guess she had like a bunch of bootleg tapes of the shows and whatever that were recorded at First Ave, but that was like way.
That's what this scene is all about, though, right?
Yeah.
It's about this history and these people and like who steps in, how long are you in for, why do
Exactly.
you get out?
I mean, I would assume that
Life.
part of the reason she got and she had 2 kids.
Yeah,
Like it
life.
just, I don't know. Like you said, once you hear about it or you figure out the right channels that you can figure out when something is going on at Paisley Park, like you're getting the information, and why are you not going?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm excited about where we're going. I'm excited about the stories we'll hear. I think you got a lot of different perspectives, a lot of different people who experienced a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be some unique lenses that we see this through, right?
Like Dion's story about how she was like 8 or 9 years old in the record store
Seeing
going
it.
up to Prince.
I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah. I had no idea.
I think there's so many things that we're not ready for. And then I think the tapestry over time of all these stories interwoven together, they're going to tell something. They're going to give a picture, and hopefully, somebody finds this useful at some point. So we're going to break it down. It should be fun. Keep listening. Keep doing your thing.
Follow us on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, Twitter. What's our Twitter deal?
At Paisley_Nights. And then we're also on Facebook, of course.
Paisley Nights, like that.
Paisley Nights.
Comment, send us messages, retweet, share, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama and them. Whoever,
send us some comments too.
whoever you got. Yeah. And if you're seeing us on like iTunes, make sure you mark us positively, put some comments, drop some 5 stars, tweet at some people. I mean, whatever you got to do. If you like it, it's interesting because it'll be interesting to see who digs on this vibe and who doesn't, right? This is different than anything else that's out there.
Yes, it is.
So, yeah, if you like it.
Because nobody else did this.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about. All right. So if you like it, like it. If not, whatever. We doing this. This is Paisley Nights. We are chronicling the days of Wild. I am Mark Bonde D here with my co-host
DJ Dudley D.
We getting at it, man. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming on. Like our Facebook page. Give us some comments.
Click it.
Yep, do it. Peace.
And be wild.